Wondering why I called you all here today.
5 o'clock on a Friday.
5 o'clock, welcome to the Koulas Farm Task Force meeting. I don't know whether this will be our last one, but it'll be darn close. It's time for us to wrap it up, declare victory, turn the real headaches over to the town manager, and declare victory and run.
At this point, DPW is off the site. They've
Yep.
done what they can in terms of cleanup.
They've done a beautiful job.
And-
They really
Yeah,
have.
that's where I was amazed.
Yeah.
Really transformed the
You
site.
should see it, that was a week and a half ago, you should see it now.
Yeah,
Greening up?
I was over there this afternoon.
Yeah, I walked it a week ago, yeah.
Ken came over and cleared the right meadow,
Yeah.
and not, a good start at it.
And we,
Phil,
how's he
you're locked out.
You're
What door is
locked
he? What door is he at?
Oh.
I'll get it. What
Yeah,
door is he?
thanks,
What door is
Henry.
he at?
The
What
plan
door is he
Where
at?
are you? In the side door or the front door?
Just next to the fire headquarters, it's the front one.
No, I
Side one in the front.
That was open
The
when I
side one,
came in.
Henry,
Oh,
Henry's on the way down.
I'll unlock it before
Why'd you
Henry
get up,
gets
Phil?
All right.
Oh, you have automagical
there.
unlocker?
It's gonna zap somebody sitting up here.
Okay. I'll just make sure the other doors are open too. If they were, I had overridden these.
Well, we all got in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say everybody else get in.
Maybe they locked at 5?
Yeah, that's right. I'll be sure.
You know,
I can hear him talking, he's coming.
there was a famous case I remember when I was living in Italy at the time, where a bunch of guys tried to rob a bank. They ran up to the bank, and they
Okay.
pulled on the door, and it wouldn't open. So they got out their submachine guns and they blew it to pieces, and it still wouldn't open, and it still wouldn't open. And finally, all the sirens are going off anywhere, and they had it off. It was a push door,
Oh, my gosh.
right in Milan.
All of us get in. We don't know what happened.
I was pulling the locked door.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. The Koulas Farm Task Force. We are, as you know, not a committee that makes grand declarations. We're an advisory committee to the town, and we've done a lot of our advising already. And we have allocated a lot of the territory up there. We have a couple of pieces yet to work through, which is Weston. I see you guys are here. And the wildlife people, and there's some things working on that space. And have we nailed down where to put the flower garden?
Yes, it's clear, it was cleared yesterday.
It was cleared? Excellent. So that's taken care of. So these are the only two we have. And a third request that I've gotten is that we should at least have a space available should we decide we want to put some community garden up there. We could allocate it now. We could simply declare it now. Where might that go?
What about lot 3?
Huh?
He's got that.
Yeah, I got that.
He's got that.
Then 4.
It would have to be adjacent to a piece of farmland, or in a piece of farmland, something that's being farmed, just for water and things like that. So probably in the 6 or in yours eventually. If you have a pack up, we could put a 6. But otherwise, the infrastructure of getting water in a well, and I think we probably,
Yeah, you can tap.
yeah.
We can pull from
Or
the
the
pond.
meadow, yeah. I mean, you could just say you're gonna put what in, where seems the best, I would think.
Yeah. Okay, because I think that's actually is a pretty good idea. I know that at the moment, we seem to have enough space, but then, as you've pointed out, that, that's a part of town that's not particularly well-served with community gardens. So let's try to lay something out for that. And how big does a community garden have to be? An acre, 2 acres?
Oh, God, no. No, about 40 plots is probably realistic. Over 40 plots is unmanageable.
Okay, so,
Watton Street does have a clause in its CR that specifies for community gardens could be built.
right, and in fact, we have them.
I would just Xerox, I mean, for, Warren Paul has one. in its CR.
Walpole. Okay.
I would just Xerox, I would just look at that section and duplicate it.
Okay, then we should probably make a point to do that. But 40 plots at, what are they typically, 15 by 30?
15 to 30.
So 4 to 500 times 40 is half an acre.
Yeah.
Okay, so half an acre we could find. So let us resolve that it's a good idea to have an appropriate clause in whatever documents finally define what this is going to look like.
Yeah, ultimately, there'll be a preservation restriction that will advance
Yeah.
before any,
Right.
It specifies it in that.
Okay, that gets us down to wildlife. Any developments on the wildlife, people? I know you've been,
Yeah, like I said, there have been discussions had communication from Melissa Robbins either at the end of last week or the beginning of this week. They are looking at the possibility of Misty Meadows. If you remember, Misty Meadows was acquired a decade ago, maybe even less than that. No, less than that, probably 6 years or so ago, by the Water District for water supply, and that's not being pursued at this time.
Yeah.
And even if it were, if you remember Misty Meadows, it was the residence house that was in the property that's remaining in there. It's
Right.
actually privately owned. And then you have the driveway to the other home at Misty Meadows. It's that section of Misty Meadows that potentially could go, because they needed about 2.5 acres, as we said.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. I don't know where it stands. Last I know, they were trying to reach the commissioners. I don't know, they've just had their annual meeting and their election, so they're in transition
All
as
right.
well. But I know that it's being explored.
So what's
Okay.
the reason for the shift?
Well, one of the reasons is the, what's the right word? Seclusion or privacy, or whatever the right word is if they are there, there's no one else who has a reason to be there. Whereas if they're here at
yeah, there are going to be
Koulas,
people around.
there's a lot of people around, and you don't want it to be an attractive nuisance to, it's not a petting zoo. It's not a, and so that's the difference. And whereas if they were over at Misty Meadows or another location like that, that's out of the realm of the public activity, then that's a preferred option, I think, for all parties. And, so that's, again, I don't know where that stands, but the other thing is we have uncertainty as to whether the state will permit
Right.
a wildlife clinic, because we won't know that until we submit the preservation agreement, because the state has a party to that, because they contribute monies to community preservation. They have to sign.
There's no provision. Misty Meadows doesn't have that.
I don't know, I'm not aware of any deed restrictions on Misty
Oh,
Meadows.
okay.
Okay.
That's the
So
water
that-
district, not the town, so I don't, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's a done deal, but I'm just saying it's another possibility.
So,
But
I mean, can we
I don't want to rule it in or out, I'm not trying to
Yep.
put a curveball in or a diversion, it's just.
word whatever we do then in an ultimate agreement to offer the possibility of it without necessarily committing that we will do it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we
One
can't
place
commit
to be.
anything. I mean, all we could include it in the language for the preservation restriction.
Right.
And then we would see, but as Phil knows, that takes quite a while to get.
Yeah, that takes a good long time.
Long time. It wouldn't be specifically for Newhouse. Everything has to be
wild.
generic and everything goes out to bid. So it would just say the concept of a wildlife refuge and hospital on the site is a good use.
Yeah.
And that's all you can really say, because there might be
Yeah.
another one who comes in and decides they want to do it. It might be that the select board decide they don't want to do any of them, that they just want to leave it as, and come the final one, you have to have voted by town meeting.
Yeah.
And those reps all the reps I'm speaking to are advocating no development, any kind. So
Yeah.
those are, getting it through, you have to also have something that will get through town meeting.
Right, yeah, that's a
Yep.
separate process. The procurement and the use, long-term lease or use,
Right.
whatever, would require town meeting approval.
Okay.
And that's a 2/3 vote at town meeting.
That's a tough one.
That's for any of those agreements, including,
Sorry about that.
including Weston Nurseries.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the wildlife is on hold pending further investigations
The
by
question
them
is,
and by us.
does the committee support that to then
Yeah.
answer?
I'd say
Yeah, and I think we support, I think it's clear we support it.
We support a concept,
Yeah,
yes.
as a
Okay,
conceptual
okay,
thing.
All right, okay.
That would be, I think, is
I
the
mean,
way to.
How do people feel? Support the concept?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
good with it.
Okay, all right, great.
Consider that good. That gets us down to Weston. Hi, folks. What's the current situation on your search for a spot?
If they're not gonna hear you, and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
watching it unless you're at that podium. Thank you.
So we were asked to get together with Newhouse to see if we could share the property, and in conversation with them, it just wouldn't fit.
Okay,
Because their facility needs to be quieter than what our operation will bring. You know, even a truck or a tractor driving nearby where the animals are.
Yeah, it's gonna cause a
is
problem.
cause a problem. So after discussions back and forth with them, we realized that the best solution for us is to have the ability just to use the land or lease the land at Koulas for ourselves, and if possibly use Misty Meadows for their
Yeah.
residents, you know, or location. So Peter emailed this morning to Paul. Paul forwarded to you guys a conceptual idea of what we're thinking, which is as you go in to the right side, kind of abutting Henry's property, where we could put our larger stock size plants and trees, shrubs, and have some smaller things as well, and maintain them there. As far as a building is concerned, one thought that I had is if we could get a building that would have restroom facilities on the back side of it, kind of like a gas station.
Yeah.
Where we would pay for all of that, so if the residents come in and want to walk the trails and they need to use the head, they can use the head, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so it's got some meat there, you know. We'll maintain it and clean it and pay for the utilities that go with that. And then just have a smaller area where our staff can have a lunchroom and greet
Yeah,
a customer.
how big do you anticipate that would be? 1,000 square feet?
Well, we drew in our initial
Yeah.
submission something that was around 1,000 square feet.
Around
But
1,000,
it can
okay.
certainly be smaller. You know, we're very flexible on that. It's more about the plants.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Henry.
I'll get up. Just, I know when we did the different properties in town, greenhouses weren't considered as a permanent structure.
Good point.
So that's something else for you to think about.
A tree house?
Greenhouse.
Greenhouse.
Or tree houses.
They're tree houses, yeah.
My hearing's not that good.
But greenhouses are not considered permanent structures, in which, you know, we, over in South Chelmsford, there's several greenhouses on town-owned property, because it's easily removed.
Yeah.
Just something for you to think about if you're looking for a structure where they're trying to get around the permanent structure issue.
Point, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It would be tough to do a bathroom in a greenhouse, so maybe it's a combination.
No, I mean, you could sell tickets.
No, but it's.
The head house. The head house and the greenhouse.
The head house would be perfect for the restroom, yeah, so.
Okay.
So our idea would be to have access from the road, go in, and, you know, based on what the task force and the select board feels they can allocate for us, we would live within those boundaries. So if it was 3 acres, great. If it was 5 acres,
Greater,
awesome.
yeah.
You know, if it's 2 acres,
Now-
because you've got a lot of different things going on there.
Right.
We still would feel like we could benefit the community because we would do some kind of a lease agreement, which would
Yeah.
go back. Of course, it goes through the select board and at the town vote, as Paul just mentioned. But, you know, whether it's a lease agreement that's us giving plant material back to the Koulas Farm, back to the community, or, you know, a monetary, however that kind of pencils out, you know, we certainly want to be good stewards to that. And then as far as the community gardens, if there was community gardens abutting this area, it would be perfect because we do have the advice to help those people if
Right.
they have
And,
questions.
and also that makes it clearly ag land.
Yes.
Let me run this around. What's the feeling of the group here as to whether we want to? Oh, one other thing I want to mention before is you're talking about the lower corner. I think that's pretty wet.
Well, Kind of where Newhouse has drawn there.
Okay.
We realize there's wetlands there, and we'd have to be.
Okay.
Although we could probably be a little closer than they could because of the agricultural aspects, but we know we have to stay away from those.
Yeah, you basically, I think ag, you're supposed to be, what, 25 feet off the line? We know it drifts.
Yeah, where they had to be 100 feet, we could be 50 or 25,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think it could be 25.
I've always known cranberry bogs to be in wetlands, but I don't know.
That's true. I was thinking of rice.
I really have no idea.
Yeah.
Is that East Meadow area, Phil? Is that what they're describing? That's what
It goes all the way up the hill. The original diagram covered the whole hill. And parts of the left meadow and the walking trails. It covered most of the area we've just cleaned out. This afternoon's diagram covered every area that DPW had cleaned and we had cleaned. So,
All right, I haven't had a chance to see that yet, so.
I thought this was to the right,
the original drawing they sent out this afternoon covers both.
right here.
It covers both meadows, the one
Let's
they
see.
sent out today.
Oh, that's what they were.
Can we
My,
clarify?
my drawing was very rudimentary, so that blob that I drew could go forward, backwards, sideways, but
Yeah, I mean,
Can we
it was
clarify
for
where
3
you're
acres.
And
talking?
they're looking at,
Right
I
here.
think what's in red.
Yeah.
This is the barway that goes
whole
one
on.
color I don't see
You're
very
talking
well.
to the right side,
All right.
right?
Yeah, I mean, level is
Oh,
better,
this?
so I can see the contours, but
Yeah.
then the wet is here,
The
so.
wet's here.
So, yeah, it could go that way, sure.
Yeah, this area right
Right
here.
meadow and
Yeah.
left meadow.
Here, so
This is the part that's all cleared and everything's
Yeah, I
done
think I
here.
did draw over a good
Oh, okay.
part of this
Well,
clear, but it could go that way or it
You
could go that way.
confused a
That's
lot of
both
people.
meadows. Yeah.
This is the
But
place right here.
that looks like it includes the meadow that you guys have just cleared out that was so ideal for,
And one DPW cleared out, and the upper one.
Yeah.
The last meetings I was at.
Includes all three and the walk entrance.
I said-
Land is better than.
I think this can
big
be
chunk of it.
leveled out.
But
Right, Henry?
the question I have
To the
is.
right side?
If that large amount of land goes up for use as a nursery, which it goes out to bid, there are lots of nurseries around here, and they'd be chomping to get that. It's not, you cannot allocate one piece of land to one, it has to go out to bid. And considering what land is renting for, that's in the town right now, it could be considerable. And we can't just say, okay, Weston, it could be, the Jones guy is ready to pack it in. He's looking for new places. There's always people looking for nurseries. So it would go out to a general bid, so you couldn't say one or another. All you could say is that you recommend that X amount of acres be allocated to building a nursery, which would include roads, truck storage, buildings. That's all you could recommend. That's all we could recommend, anyway.
well, you know,
I think they're looking for a laydown yard.
Yeah.
yeah, they're looking for a laydown yard, not
They're
a,
not looking for
It's-
a
not a
business
nursery.
establishment.
No
It's a
storage of
laydown.
vehicles, no vehicles out there, no.
I don't think they're gonna store their vehicles there.
I mean, if you specify it and restrict it to just,
It's gonna be this is gonna be under ag. This isn't gonna be
Could we ask the
conservation
questions
or
of
nothing.
Weston? Maybe they can answer.
yeah,
that.
sure.
Yeah, it'd have to be it'd have to be ag, right?
It'd have to be agricultural commission,
But
number one.
ag is fairly broad in this
Right.
context.
Agriculture, if they're gonna put trees,
well, if
on that piece of
someone's,
property.
someone's gonna put trees.
Yeah.
We can't guarantee.
All right,
one
okay.
person, Yeah,
all right.
because now you're dealing commercial, we're dealing with a lot of variables. It's not like a farmer who just farms it and turns it over, this is commercial.
To the very right side, after everything's cleared here, nothing's gonna happen over where it's cleared, or whatever. The parking lot, right? To the right side of the parking lot. I think there's room there, if they're willing to put the investment into it.
Again, it's if someone, because it does have to go out for bid.
Okay,
And
so
they
you're
could be
gonna
other-
bid this
other-
property out
Yeah.
to somebody like, and they're gonna have to put an investment in there
Yep,
of $50,000 worth of excavation?
anyone's gonna have to do that. I mean, you just can't, because that's part of the bid process of
Well,
procurement.
I think if they're reaching out to us, and they're right around the corner, and I think if we can recoup a little bit of money,
Yeah, but that's jumping the process. The process is, it goes out, we specify
I know it
the
goes to
use,
bid, Phil.
then it goes to bid, yes.
I know all about this,
Right.
all right?
No.
Okay? You're not talking to somebody who doesn't know.
No, I'm just saying it's,
All right?
yeah.
You can talk all you want, but if they're willing to bid this and invest in it, and we're willing to accept it as tax revenue back to the town, we should look at it.
I think it should be presented, yes.
Yes,
But we
okay.
can't, it's not a guarantee, nothing's a guarantee, till the residents' town meeting and the select board agree to it.
Yeah,
This-
true, quite true.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
This is agricultural. This is gonna
Potentially
go to the Ag Commission.
Have we decided that?
No, I don't know if we
I don't think we
decided that yet.
decided.
If you plant a plant, if you put it in a laydown yard, now there's a possibility that you can put this plant in the ground and keep it in the ground until you go dig it. Okay? That's agricultural.
Not
Wouldn't
necessarily.
you call that agricultural, Henry?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but not under agricultural, because what do we have under the
We already
agriculture?
went through that when
Yeah.
Western Nurseries originally went in, well, I should say in front of the, because we're on TV. When it was Parley's Nursery, we went through the whole thing. I was on the other side, back and forth. Agriculture came in the definition, if you bring a plant in, you set it down, and they water that plant, whether it's in the ground, on the ground, around the ground, it's agriculture.
But not necessarily under AgCom.
No,
It could be under
well, it can
conservation.
be,
No,
it'll be
I'll-
under whoever we
Right.
decide.
yeah, whoever
to
you
grant
decide. I
the-
mean, to be
Whoever's
perfectly
managing
honest, some towns do have their agricultural commission running their ag land, and it does work well, and sometimes it doesn't work well. It's-
Yeah. And
there's
that's,
been
that's
there's been
a separate
there's-
decision to
That's a
make.
separate
Right.
decision. There's a lot of issues that have to be worked out with that, and, but now you know what I know.
But it's a mixed-use the parcel
It's a
itself
mi-
is mixed use.
It's a mixed use. It's
Parcel.
agricultural
Right,
Yeah,
and it's Concom,
right, exactly.
okay?
yeah.
And that's how the deed's gonna be written.
Is it, though?
And it may be, the Conscom may be managing the whole parcel.
Yeah. I
Including
mean,
the agricultural use.
that's a
Yeah.
separate, that's a
That's a
separate
whole
discussion.
separate
Yeah,
thing.
but that's a discussion that has to go.
And you better talk to Carl
I
about
gotta talk to
that,
Carl about that, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
because I'm not making any statements about that.
Right, but
Okay.
if they want, yeah, right, we have to have that.
But if
discussion.
they start writing this,
Yeah,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
right,
But agricultural, you can see what happened you can see what's going on at 27. They got greenhouses,
yeah,
they're planting,
right,
they're doing everything.
right, and that's
Okay.
not conservation land.
But that's
And
on
that's not
Concom land.
conservation.
No, it's not.
This
That's
is
under
half
select board.
and
That's okay.
half.
That's the
It's
conservation.
half
is-
and half land.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think anything's under, the select board controls
Yeah.
Sunny Meadow, and it controls Sheehan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know,
Right, but she-
that's an interesting discussion, but I'm not sure we need
We don't wanna get
to
the
reach
real-
that
Right.
in order to make a decision here about what use we would recommend. Remember, we're only recommending.
Right.
Yeah, I think the question is, what do you want to do, and we'll figure out how to get there. I guess
Yeah.
is what
Right.
you're getting at, yeah, okay.
well, I know they're looking at investing money, leveling it, obviously,
Yeah.
because you're not just gonna go in there and start putting plants down,
No,
right? I don't know.
it's whatever the committee recommends.
Well, yeah, and that's, and honestly, our recommendation does not have to be taken.
Right.
It's just a recommendation, and let's understand that's what it is.
So I have a question
Yeah.
related to this. There was some discussion previously about having this be use for larger groups.
Yeah.
Is this in replace of that, next to it?
Well,
You don't know.
to level that piece of land and make it useful,
Leveling regardless, it's what land is used for what?
Like
Because there's a
what
lot of
por-
discussion about an open
You're
space.
trying to figure out portions of the land,
Yeah,
like where would
that's-
this be
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand that.
come in here with a map, number one,
We all-
which you have and I have, okay? It's a secret map. You read it, you look at it, and you say, okay, here's the driveway, here's what the town has done, this is absolutely beautiful. This is about the only place that they're looking at, right here,
Right meadow.
the right meadow.
Right meadow.
Right meadow.
Right meadow.
And that's what he's saying, is if you use the right meadow, then you don't use it as for a public space, is what he's saying.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's all he's saying.
All right, but, can I,
Yeah, please, this is
right.
your
Yeah,
committee.
please do.
What you guys discuss.
Jim, where have you been the last month?
I mean, where's it been?
I've been working.
Okay, but, Jim, I understand that. But we said a month ago, all right, we're not gonna, we wanna leave that left field to hang.
Yes.
And,
The
we've done that.
495 side.
Yeah.
right.
Correct.
Okay.
We've done
and-
that.
And so we've done that. But we haven't seen a plan from you in the last month, to my knowledge.
No, but they were asked to go to figure out if it could be done in conjunction with new
That's right.
wildlife.
And
Right,
that
and they
fell
did that.
down,
They
and
did
that
that.
fell down pretty quickly.
Well, we just recently talked with them. We were going back and forth, and they were looking at different ways that we could both use that piece of property. And they discussed the possibility of where the house used to be to the left of that for us, which would have been
Yeah, you're
difficult.
too close to the vernal pool.
Correct. On the left side of the vernal pool, basically. So.
There's woods going around.
Wood.
Yeah, that
near
would
the
have
mill
been
road.
tough.
So,
That's crazy.
and that didn't really work for what we wanted. They were hard, we realized after a couple of phone calls that they were hard fast wanting the place where they've designed. And after Peter and I had a conversation, we felt like their direction is not the same direction that we want to go in.
Yeah, I understand that.
And spring is upon us, and so we've been very busy at work, unfortunately. That's why we haven't submitted anything till this morning.
So here's the problem, on this committee. We're trying to wrap up, Jim,
Yep.
all right?
Understand.
And we've discussed Newhouse and maybe going to Misty Meadows or maybe going somewhere else. But that hasn't been resolved, so that's gonna hold up our discussions, okay? And then we get
That's
this,
going to extend beyond this committee's discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to take quite some time.
right, and maybe, yeah, so maybe that's what we end up doing. But this is not a proposal.
Well, we made a
This
proposal.
one paragraph
Right.
is not a proposal.
Okay,
It's not a sufficient proposal that this committee can make a decision on your proposal.
okay.
There's very little in there. And I understand flexibility, but you make it very difficult for us to make a decision. All right? The first thing we've got to do, I mean, because we haven't heard from you in a month, okay?
Yep.
And it's fair, everybody works hard, all right? And we want to help, but we don't have the tools for it. So we need to look at what we have for a plan, and we have the Newhouse plan right now, and we have the native plants plan.
Yep.
And then we have events and stuff like that, and that pretty much takes care of that area, those two meadows. And, it makes it difficult for this committee to do anything finite that we can go forward with.
Although I don't know that, they're all conflicting uses.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know that we've resolved where the wildlife refuge would go either. I mean, they proposed a location which was slap dab
exactly.
center in the property.
Exactly.
But in that right meadow that they're talking about could also be the issue for them, could also be for issue of the spot for Newhouse, could also be the spot for the pollinator garden and
Sure.
open area.
Sure.
So I think that's the issue is what does the committee recommend for the property? That's really what it's coming down to,
Yeah.
that core area, because we know the rest of the property is all trails and, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
think that's where the. I
What's
think
been
it's-
cleared?
Right, I think that's the question, is
Or
what's
close
gonna go
to
in the
being.
area that's cleared, and what you're hearing now are three different uses. Weston Nurseries, Wildlife Clinic, and community use.
Yeah.
All three can't use it. And
Yeah.
what they've determined is they can't be adjacent to Newhouse.
right, which I
So.
fully understand.
And I think that's what we gotta resolve is, okay, well, what does the committee recommend for the property? And we
Well-
said, we support Newhouse, but we didn't say where.
Right.
Because I'm not sure where Newhouse proposed it originally, DAP's center in the property is gonna be acceptable to the town, or is the best location for them, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And I think they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to get out of the main way off to a side, which is what John's describing, is saying, well, what about way over here off to a side?
So what can we do to speed this along for you and for the Board of Selectmen?
I think the question is what do you want to see
Yeah.
out
We
there?
can say we support all three.
But that
But
doesn't
they're-
resolve the
but
problem.
they're-
Let
but
me
they're-
ask you a
they're in
couple of
conflict.
fundamental questions here. First one is, if we were to go in on the right, in that kind of right meadow area, what exactly would the access be? Would it be straight in from Pine
Pine Hill
Hill?
Road, yes.
Is that doable? Is that,
There's a wetland off. to
There's
the
a
side.
wetland
Yeah,
there.
You're not going through the wetland to get to that area.
Right.
It's got to be somewhere near the current entrance.
right, that's what I'm thinking,
No matter what it is.
which changes the whole nature of this, I think.
Which is the same question for the wildlife thing. as
Yes,
well.
Are you talking through where the construction entrance is, where the stone is? Out front? Entering?
Where the barn was?
Yes,
Where the
Where
barn
the barn
was?
is, yeah.
yes, yes.
Because
Right
because
here.
anything beyond that is wet.
Yeah, I mean,
This is, this here, right?
if you just picture a 3-acre rectangle, wherever you guys want to make it, on relatively flat land, we don't really care where it goes. It's the same drawing I did when we proposed this side. Just put that over here wherever it's cooperative with the other
We're
parties.
talking right here.
Yeah, you'd come in there,
Come in the
and
construction
it could be very
entrance.
narrow here, and the whole thing could be back here.
The construction entrance is here, and you drive in, and this is the parcel that you would be looking to flatten out, right there.
And this is our
This
funny
is
little
yours.
roadway.
That's the roadway, the barway, all the way down.
Now, is this wet over here as well?
That's wet, this is wet.
So this is the only chunk right here that's
That's the
truly
only
available.
chunk, right.
You can't get to the right of the property without going through the center because it's
Right,
all wet.
yeah, because
It's all
of the
wetland
wetness.
along the
Right,
roadway.
well, you might be able to,
Yeah, it's about all you could do would be,
that'd be about it, to come in this way.
And then what Jim was mentioning is if there's shared parking, shared building, that will help other aspects of this plan here, we'd be willing to put that right on this edge so it goes that way or this way. But I didn't realize this was all wet right here. You're saying that's
Well,
all
it's
wet?
pretty much wet, you
Yeah, I
can
thought
see
the wet
that.
was more up here.
It's up in here, this whole
Right.
front corner is all wet.
Everything that's low and flat down there is
It's all wet right in here.
well,
I'll put it this way, conservation wouldn't even look
Hmm.
at that.
So it could be this,
It, well,
some kind of a 2.5, 3-acre spot.
yeah,
That's what we're
right
looking
in there.
for. But where there's so many parties trying to work together, I couldn't really
yeah.
work in conjunction with, we tried it with Newhouse, and we would have been over here.
Oh, over here?
Yeah, that's where Newhouse said in their
Oh, no.
conceptual design.
I don't ever see that.
And then I didn't want to step on a beloved group like them, but if it doesn't work out, take their area, and that's what we're essentially
Yeah.
talking about. But if you want to move this over that way more, if that weren't wet, we would do that too.
See, that's the.
Okay,
I think the same problem Newhouse has, same thing. If they're really looking all at the same location.
right.
Well,
Because I think if Newhouse goes out there, they should be off to the side as well.
Well,
Again,
they in
Something like
particular
that,
need to be
Henry?
off to the side,
Right.
given the nature of what they do.
Well, the building versus the outside refuge.
Right.
That area, that would easily be cleared right next to the road.
That's pretty wet down through here.
No, but I'm saying not anywhere up here. And nobody even looked at it, to be honest with you, I don't think.
And we won't have the survey on the wetlands for a while yet.
Well, the field work is.
Flags
we don't
are-
have- we don't
It's
have the map-
flagged.
We don't have the mapping done.
It's all
Yeah, we
flagged.
don't. Do we have any idea when we're gonna see the mapping?
I'm working with David Coons to get that done.
Yeah, I know, it's been a little slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is just one other alternative I want to throw out there to be
Yeah.
complete, which is do nothing.
That's another option, yeah.
No nursery, no wildlife, no open space events, and just leave the land. Just saying, it's another option.
Yeah,
We don't have to say it's used for something else.
Well, I certainly, on the open space event stuff, I think that's pretty clearly in the interest of the broad population of the town. I don't think we should take that one off the list.
I'm not saying take anything off the list,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's another option.
Well, it doesn't require any infrastructure.
But it doesn't require
It's a
infrastructure,
field.
it's basically there. All right,
But building something out is, I was hesitant thinking about it. But the amount of work that's been done out there, And when you see it now in the improvements, the less and less I feel development would go down well at the front.
Of any type.
Yeah,
Of any
any
site,
site,
of
any
any
kind.
Which is, I think, what he's getting at, yeah.
Yeah, well, and there's just another element, I live nearby, kind of
Right,
around the
you do,
corner.
around the corner.
And a neighbor had said, oh, open events, because we talked about 60 cars, and they said, wow, that's gonna increase the traffic in the neighborhood.
On one night, yeah.
Well, one night a
No
week
more
for-
than the.
Yeah, so I'm just
yeah.
expressing the concern
Yeah, no, I get it.
that I heard loud and clear from a neighbor, right, that there would
Pick
be
your own
increased traffic
yeah.
in the area.
But I'd say pick your own strawberries, hay maze, Easter bunny. They're all farther up the road.
Yeah, oh,
And
yeah,
I've never heard complaints about
Yeah.
those. They're one-off, several-hour events that happen
Right.
once in a blue moon. So if we'd had lots
Yeah,
of complaints on
It's
those
not
other
gonna be Narrow
events.
Park. I don't want the neighbors to think it's gonna be Narrow Park. I think
Yeah,
that's probably what the
yeah,
concern would
that's
be.
just
Meaning like
sharing the
it's a
concern. Yeah.
7-day-a-week,
no,
Yeah.
gathering. I get the concern.
All right, well, we're gonna have to bring this into some kind of a conclusion here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of conflicted views on this.
So we went around once and we said yes for new house, right?
We did,
In
although we're
theory,
working on
we
finding.
didn't say new house here, we just
Well-
said
We
new
said we
house.
like Newhouse.
Yeah,
I would like to see new house land somewhere.
okay.
Yeah, I think
feel
we all
really
would.
strongly about that, whether it is Misty Meadow or here, but
Or
then.
somewhere else, right.
Yeah.
But that's being worked on
Right.
now. I mean, that's not
I
something
don't
we
have
can
any
fix right
visibility
away.
to it, so I don't know.
Not, very few of us do. There's not a lot to be visible. It's just people are talking. So, and I figure we can put the wildflowers pretty much anywhere in there as long as it's,
Well, they're up on the hill anyway.
they're up on the hill, so they'll be fine.
Pull them
And-
anywhere.
Huh?
The whole land could be
Flowers can go
wildflowers.
anywhere.
Yeah, it could be.
It's
So-
not a rocket science.
What do we want to say here about Weston, given that we don't have an absolute final set of plans or anything from them? What's your feeling? Yay, nay?
Do we have another month that we could, how much
Yeah,
time
yeah,
frame?
yeah, there's no hard clock that we have to have this done by May 1st.
Yeah,
or
but
June 1st or
I've been on enough projects where
Right, but if you
you
don't,
were
it just
faced with a
drifts.
difficult decision and people pushed it down the road.
Right, so there's no, it's not like, oh, we have to have a decision by May 1st. We've
But
got to be out
yeah,
here.
do we have enough information to make a decision right now is the thing. It's not like we're just pushing it down to push it down the road.
Right.
See, the problem is I have with Jim, your input, I don't have enough information to make a decision.
Okay.
I
In
know
that,
what you're saying.
in that case,
Because keeping it loose like this, I'm really against moving any more of the trucks up the road, closer to where I live and where I travel all the time. You know, and that's where I stand with that, all right? So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about a few things. The other thing that I've been out there for 3 months, mostly working on the bittersweet and cutting it. So an option is to do nothing. Well, that's not much of an option.
No, we
because
we
all
have
the
to do
cutting I meant to say this in the beginning. DPW has done a fantastic job. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
They did stuff in 3 months that we thought
something. It would take 2 years, yeah.
Yep, they did.
they vested.
I didn't.
Christine and Joe had a vision, and they
And they
came
got,
across. I mean, I never thought I would see stone walls. So I'd hate to waste that. And you can go around and look at all the trees that have actually been saved. But if we stop and then say, nothing, we're not gonna do anything, all that abatement, it's gonna go away, not today, not tomorrow.
But in a year or 2 or 3.
right, yeah, no one's, I don't think anyone's proposing
Right.
to leave it as a nature reserve and then
Right.
just like put a fence up around the property and say nobody's gonna go in there, because that's what's gonna happen.
Well, that's not gonna happen either,
Not gonna
but,
happen.
you
No,
know,
but I'm just saying, you know.
yep.
Okay, so let me ask, this is the kind of question I'd ask in the planning board, you'd probably ask on the Concom.
Yep.
What additional information would help us decide here. You've indicated you don't think you've got enough information to make a decision on this. And I understand your point. How do other people feel? Is there more information that would help?
Well, I don't have enough information about Western nurseries.
Right. I think
Proposal.
that's the only question right now.
Well, I
No,
think the other
and
question is.
then, if we can find a place for Newhouse
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's quieter,
Yeah.
that's what they want anyhow.
Yep.
That would open up space, we don't have to divide it up.
Right.
And the two uses just don't work together. Any proximity, any kind of a form.
Right. But then the other point is, do we want any of those uses out there? So that's the spectrum. The spectrum is,
Right.
you accommodate 0, 1, or 2. And that's the issue. And I think what we've heard is, you can't accommodate Newhouse and.
Right, we know that.
And Weston. So it's really a question of. And
Henry,
we've heard- and
the
we've heard
voice
a-
of wisdom.
and we've heard a preference to put Newhouse perhaps,
Yeah.
like we've done to the pickleball and other folks. If there's another place in town.
Oh,
that'd be
by the way,
great.
how'd the pickleball?
That we're probably coming to fall town meeting, hopefully with McCarthy for that.
Beautiful,
And-
okay.
And believe it or not, we have a plan, they could actually put them next to the fitness park here without going further.
Okay, so we have two plans that
Couple
take
things
care
for
of them,
that.
and it's already flat.
That's in process.
Okay, so that's, we took care of that.
Good.
Richardson Road,
Yeah,
For
it's
everything.
flat.
Did Henry have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, I've been down this road a couple times. And, yeah, all you guys are doing is making suggestions.
Right.
So, you can suggest whatever you want. You can say, hey, 2, 1, quarter acre, whatever, would be nice for a nursery's usage. But, underneath that nursery usage, you can put your restrictions.
Yeah. No parking of
I-
trucks.
What Phil has been saying is, we can't necessarily say it for one person. It's the same thing as the land across the street. After we get everything all settled, it has to go out for bid.
Yeah,
So I don't think you can tailor make it to Western Nursery. I think you can include what they would like or what somebody else would like. You can also put the restrictions on it that you want.
yeah.
I don't think you need an actual bid for them right now. I don't think you need an actual bid from anybody, but right now you're just you're approving concepts, and you can give limitations on spaces and acreages. Like, we can just say, hey, 2 acres for agriculture, whether it's nursery, this, that, fine. We could take and say, we do support the concept of Newhouse, but that you can leave it at that and figure out what you want to do. It's going to be a little bit vague. You can't take and actually tailor it to one person.
Right.
I think you're getting a little bit lost in the details. I think if you take and put your details down on what you want in the lease restriction, you let it go with that. Now that you have to be careful, because other towns have put lease restrictions together, and people have come around, looked at it, and said, there's no way in hell I'll ever take and do this.
Yeah.
And that's happened with several spots, right on Main Street in Westford. The old Drew Farms. Now they're talking about putting a pig farm in there, which nobody's gonna be happy with. The Nagog Orchard, they got a committee together and they put a lot of restrictions on, and nobody wants to come in and spend
Right,
$1 million
yeah.
it takes to get the thing up
Yep.
and running.
Yeah, I've heard about
You need
those.
to be realistic about it, but I don't think you gotta tailor make it to anybody. You can just say, yeah, in theory, 3 acres of agricultural on this side of the road, whether it's nursery, apple orchard, whatever.
Yeah.
And it has to go out to bid. I just think, all right,
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to get
That's
at.
what-
Yeah, that's good wisdom, good wisdom.
Can we hear from Mark? He had his hand up.
Mind if I speak?
Yeah, get to the microphone or nobody's gonna hear you.
No, it's a short comment.
And, yeah.
I'm
In
Mark
fact, you'll probably
Petricone.
be getting everybody to identify themselves, although we tend to know who you are.
I'm Mark Petricone. I live up the street. My family was the coolest people. One of the things that came up on a meeting before this, and I hope it doesn't get forgotten, is having Newhouse there was a form of having some security. Phil brought it up that first night when we talked about it. And I like the idea of having some security, just looking over the property late at night. If they have cameras or if they have people working there or volunteering there, that's a good thing. And I'm afraid it's going to get forgotten when we start talking about other things. And I definitely would like to see these guys taken care of too. But I just want to bring in that factor of security, that's all.
That's a good point.
And that
Good
was why
point,
the
thank you.
parking area was right
Right.
at the front.
Yep.
Bolted off and visible so that anybody.
So our cruisers could go
including a
by and they
police
could
car
see
goes by,
it.
can see what's going on there. And
Yep.
that's been a common theme that we've done at.
And I think it's-
all
I
these
think it's
properties,
crucial. I
Because
think it's
otherwise
crucial.
you get problems.
So maybe, if we can help Jim, okay, Western Nurseries, give us a quick plan, a little more detail, doesn't have to be the two-page job that you did the last time, but give us an idea, what would you do with 3 acres,
That's a lot.
you know, or 2 acres?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let the committee make a decision.
I think they told us that it would be for plant stock, it would be
Plant
nursery
stock,
stock. That's
Okay.
what they're proposing to do. I mean, they're here, but they basically they'd be dropping off, he can explain.
Yeah, if I could, our original proposal, I'm going to take it, and I can do this as quickly as you guys asked me to do it. It's just, we have been busy, but no excuse. And I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to show it on another piece, because I don't think you guys wanted certain aspects of that, but I've already written exactly what the nature of the agricultural part would look like, which seems to be what this group's more interested in versus, structures, let's just call it. We'll need parking, obviously, but it's lay-down area for plants.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw in our first proposal. We really wanted that other side. 3 acres is kind of the number. I would push for that versus 1 or 2 to make it worthwhile.
Okay. So, could you do that for us? I'd appreciate that.
Is there anything else you need for guidance from us?
I don't think so.
If you want to listen to what everybody's concerns are, and security cameras were a concern, we'll address that. Shared parking, the bathroom thing that Jim mentioned.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Feel free to tell us what we are allowed to do. I mean, if
If
that's
you
what
go,
I'm saying.
the best way to envision it,
Yeah.
if you go to the back end of a nursery, whether it's their location there or others, you see the large plant stock that's in the
Yep.
back.
Sure.
That's what they're proposing, is having
Yeah,
an
the
area
larger stock,
where
yeah.
they can put their larger stock
Right.
and
Yeah.
maintain it. So what
And-
that
and-
would entail
and
is,
it-
you would come in with a vehicle to deliver that stock, and then that vehicle would go away. So it's not like you got trucks coming in every day. And then basically, they're then maintaining that inventory, and yes, occasionally they're pulling from that inventory.
Sure.
That's what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
it's a laydown area or a stock area. And like I said, you can go to their location, go to other nurseries, you see that, they have their,
Yeah, you have kind of
they gotta hold their
a once a
inventory.
week 18-wheeler and several daily pickup trucks.
Yes.
So
That's
if we-
And it's, our business is seasonal, so spring into early summer is when our busiest. So,
Action is-
in the summer, it's not as busy, so there'll be less activity, just maintenance of the plants. And in the fall, it picks up a little bit. Obviously, during the winter, there's nothing happening. The invasive thing is a huge concern, as you mentioned, with the bittersweet. So for us to take the 2 to 3 acres and clean that area up, it reduces the amount of invasives in that area from our hard work just to get it ready for what we need to do. And quite honestly, we could plant plants, native plants, in around like a buffer zone so that it would look attractive as well,
Okay.
and make it look more from the outside looking in more attractive. as
Yeah,
well.
that has a lot of merit. Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah,
To
please.
keep with the other thing I heard about is equipment parked there at night.
Yeah.
We would need some guidance on that too, because if we could drive the tractor back to the main facility on that small stretch of road, is that allowed? And we would
Oh,
not
yeah.
put equipment over there.
Agricultural rules under.
Yeah.
yes,
You're right. The
Short answer is
ag
yes.
rules, you're fine.
It's ag
Yeah.
rules.
fine, yes.
That's what I thought, but
2 miles, 5 miles or something.
10.
The answer is yes.
25 miles,
10, and you don't even need
50?
plates, you just need insurance.
50 miles.
Yeah, you have to.
All right.
Just get on it and go.
So,
Nobody ever stops a tractor
so
doing
could you-
12 and a half
could you
miles an
turn
hour.
this around
Always
in
a
a couple
tractor
of
going
weeks?
down the Sheehan. So.
Yeah.
yes, easily. Yes, I
I
can
tell you
turn
about
this
the
around.
time,
And-
was it?
And maybe we'll get a little more headway with Newhouse
I don't know how quick.
Maybe.
Take, yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe all we can say, we support this, we support that. Is that what we want?
Maybe we just block out the area which is in question
Yeah.
and just put a question mark on that and do everything else except for the.
Yeah,
that
I think
one
that's
area.
what we're talking.
And we could do recommendations on everything except that one block, which is a question that would be pending.
In 2 weeks, we could vote and on a write-up and submit it.
Then we could declare ourselves done,
Go on vacation.
go on vacation.
Well, then you have the
Already done.
question of what's gonna happen when they're done for maintenance. That was
That's
the other.
beyond-
Yeah, well, there'll be a
That's
lot of
beyond-
questions that come up, but that's well beyond what we're trying to do now. We're trying to get this property under appropriate permanent guidance and leadership.
I would just say cross out, do a section, a red section on that one, and do the recommendation of everything except that one section.
Okay, yep,
I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Yeah.
Put it on paper, so everybody can see it.
yes.
We're sitting here looking at a plan, everybody's looking at their phone.
No,
My phone shut off, I can't look at it.
You can't look at it when your phone's on.
We're looking
I
at what
can't.
was said
And I don't
today.
want to. I never want to do that. I'll never come into the next century. I'm old school. Put it on paper, put a plan down. Show us what you're gonna do, and you're done. Keep it 100 feet from the wetlands going in, right? You won't have a problem with Concom.
Right.
And I think we're good.
I think for ag, you're good at 25 feet from the wetland.
We're not gonna push the limit right now, and I'm not
30.
gonna say that.
I think
Okay.
the only one.
I'm not gonna say that.
The only thing.
You're not gonna get me to say that.
I know.
They're gonna say, John said, you can put a road right through here. Well, John would just go do it.
Yeah, right, they
I
all
would ask
know that,
questions
too,
later.
John.
And I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
But again, same with the only question we have is the lower right meadow. Everything else is
Phil.
pretty much done.
Phil, this area right here, nobody's ever gonna do nothing here.
Which one?
You gotta have the plan in front of you. This area right here,
Yeah.
nobody, you can't do
Lower right
nothing.
meadow.
We know that.
It's the lower right meadow.
Squish, squish, squish when you walk through it.
That's vernal pool, that's done. The lower right meadow is the only area. Yeah, that's squish.
This is vernal pool. This is dedicated
but
vernal
there's,
pool.
yeah.
The lower right meadow is the only thing that's in question in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Everything else is already had work done on it.
Over here,
Oh, we're not even looking over
that's
that.
hayland.
Yeah, we're not even looking at that one.
yeah,
Perfect hayland.
I know, it's gorgeous.
Cut it and go. Bring the plan next time.
Okay, so it sounds to me as if this committee wants to do one more meeting to work our way through this little piece.
Not on a Friday night.
Yeah, sorry about that, it was just the only time with
I had
town
nothing to
meeting
do
popping
with
up, we're all just up to our eyeball.
We should also go through all the recommendations to date that we've talked about and come up with a list so we can check those off at the meeting too.
Well,
Because we've already done,
I think we already have effectively done that.
What's that?
We don't need to talk, Phil.
no, we
dinner
need to
time.
sign off on the
Talking about
list.
the list of things that you.
Dinner
sent out?
time.
No, we have a list of what recommendations we have. We've not got a formal list that.
Well, we've recommended the two ag pieces, the 6 acre and the Hunt Road piece.
Right.
That's, well, I don't say it's a done deal. At some point, the possibility will come up for leases for that. But right now, we're operating on license. We'll get through the year, and since what we're doing is basically, hey,
We're recommending agricultural use.
yeah, we're
That's what
recommending
we're out there.
agricultural use. That's all we need to
Those two
do.
parcels, yeah.
But we don't have just a simple document that says what we recommend of
Yes.
following. The 6 acres says this is this.
Agriculture.
Just
All
simple
right, I
one-line
can put it,
sentences.
I'll make sure it gets into the next minutes.
Yeah, agricultural use for the 6
And
and a half,
the, and
the Hunt Road.
and
parcel.
everybody likes the wildflowers. The pickleball court is probably going
Not
to a
there.
better spot.
Right.
Richardson Road, perfect spot.
You have your walking trails. You get your just the
Walking trails are
Just
in.
we should have like 10 recommendations, and that should be it.
Let me see what I can draft and then run it by the committee and see if we can all home in it, which I think we can. So let's get together in 2 weeks and let's commit to putting ourselves out of business.
2 weeks, the 8th.
All you gotta do is start farming.
Yeah,
You're gonna make $1 million.
Yeah, million, yeah, right.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
We just want to make sure that we get to you the information, just
Yeah.
like you said. So is there specific things that any of you need from us that we haven't really answered already?
I would say delineate the land you're interested in.
Okay? Because it could move in different areas
Yeah, it
based
could.
on what you
To
folks
delineate what
recommend.
you're most interested in, I would recommend to the extent you can, keep it to the lower right
Yep,
on there. And don't worry about what goes on the wetland. The wetland nobody's gonna use. Yep.
Gotta stay away from the wetland going in.
Yeah, stay away from it coming in.
Don't tell them.
are you looking for us to actually map out how the beds would look for the
No.
trees and shrubs, or?
No, but if you're gonna put a building up, at least suggest
Okay,
a location for the
Maybe
building
if
and a
it's
size.
Access the road or the driveway.
Yeah, we have to have the access in and out. We have to know where your people are gonna be driving. Yeah, or what you're proposing for that. And,
How much is gonna be gravel? How much is gonna remain soil?
yeah. God, I keep getting these spam calls.
But I-
Yeah. I assume there's no impervious involved here. Sure as hell hope not. I think some suggestion about how you might landscape buffer it a little bit. And I mean, it's just as simple. I mean, you got all the plants, just dig a deeper hole for some of them, put them in. I can always recommend sugar maples. Just an idea.
I'm not an engineer, so take this comment for what it's worth. Talking with DPW, they were concerned the area where the barn was and they filled it might be soft.
that I would, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
You know, and so, an engineer or somebody that knows, it wouldn't take much to be more smarter than me, but that might be, require some compaction and stuff like that,
Right.
just to move that access over closer instead of having it go at angles. Where
Yeah.
Right now, you have to go out like this, and then you gotta make a turn. If you could get a direct through there somehow,
Well, you're gonna need something like that because although there won't be a lot of 18-wheelers going in there, there may be a few.
Yep.
An 18-wheeler's gotta be able to get in, it's gotta be able to get out. You have to have, even though it's ag, with any kind of structure on it, you're gonna have to have appropriate turning radius for the fire equipment.
Yep.
So, which is not a hard thing to do if you're dealing with wide open space. That you can do by just placing your rows.
Just thinking,
Yeah.
and trying to maybe expedite things.
Yeah,
From what I'm seeing is there's support amongst the task force for a wildlife clinic and a support for the agricultural use that's
Right.
being proposed for, by Weston Nurseries. And really where it's gonna go from here, as we talked, going back to the beginning of the discussion, is the town's gonna have to draft a preservation restriction
Right.
document, agree with a third party to hold that restriction, then submit it to the state. And then once that's approved, then you do the procurement process and so forth.
right.
Right.
I mean, I guess the question is that sufficient for now? Because we're not gonna know these answers till quite
I
some
think it's
time.
quite sufficient,
And
particularly.
I'm not that I'm opposed to you guys meeting again, but I'm just thinking,
It's
is
a
that?
long time for
No,
Yeah,
if
but
if
that's
what
gonna
we
take
Paul's
do,
just finishing up, and
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm
3
saying.
years.
So I mean, that might be sufficient from, and now, because
Well,
I'm not sure,
certainly,
I'm not sure we're gonna be much further along if we meet in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 2 months, quite
well,
frankly. 'Cause those answers
what I
aren't
am
gonna-
thinking is we could
Because-
delineate a piece of land
Right,
there.
and I think I
And
think we
just
understand,
delineate
and I
that
think we've
land,
understood that,
yeah.
is proposed area, or suggested
It's
areas.
all,
I
we're
think
all
we can
talking
do
the
that
lower
now.
right, we've moved down to that.
Because what has to happen, and Phil knows this, because
Yeah.
we've lived through it at both Sunny Meadow, Hart Pond,
Yeah,
Sheehan Farm, and now Warren Pole, and so forth. We have to go out and do what's called the baseline survey,
yeah,
which is gonna take a lot, and as the name suggests, it's a baseline survey.
yeah,
Meaning, we just did a wetlands flagging. This is like baseline the entire property.
Yeah.
Which means they go out there and document everything that's out there, photographs, mappings, the whole thing. That gets completed as
Yeah.
part of this
Yeah.
process. That's gonna take probably the good part of the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get it done by the fall, and then you gotta do the redocument. So, I guess what I'm saying is that I think that's about as far as we can go at this point. there's nothing that's gonna prevent us in the future, or the board, or me,
Yeah.
or whatever, in the future, that as that progresses, we say, okay, we now know what we got. Can you guys, let's bring everybody back together, and oh, by the way, you've had a season of Koulas, existing. What are the thoughts now that we know the parameters from the state? And before we go to town meeting, what do we want to ask town meeting for?
Now,
Because if that's the case, then that may be as far as we can go now. But what I've also heard is what do we do in the meantime? And I think what I'm hearing is in the meantime, when do we take the no trespassing signs down?
Yeah.
And what condition is it to allow the public to be on the property this season? And then Phil's question
Yeah.
was, well, what do we have to do to allow that to be a viable use for this season?
right.
And I think we're much further than we ever envisioned, coming back to the
Yeah.
beginning, than we'd ever be.
Well, okay, let's,
Because DPW, I'm just saying, because
Yeah.
DPW's been out there, and I guess the question would be is, what do we need to do to open the property up? Because we've already opened up the parcel across the street to the license agreement
Yeah.
for agriculture, we've opened the one off
Open
of
the
Hunt
Hunt Road.
Road. What do we need to do to open this up for public use?
I think what we need to do is simply delineate an area that is still a matter of conversation for
Right, but-
fundamental use, which
Right,
we
but that-
kind of already have.
Right, but that use of that right meadow can happen while this other stuff
Yeah,
is going on.
right, and then
Correct.
bless the rest of it and
Right,
blast
in other
on
words, is
forward.
it safe for, what do we need to do to make it safe for people that go on the property, to the public? Because
Right
as we
now?
saw what happened with Warren Poll and everything else, they're going out there anyway. And so the question is, at what point do we just want to, basically,
I can
what
address
do we need
that
to
one.
do? Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah.
Before we go, I know we got very limited time.
I can
John.
address that one because we are, signage has been put in.
Yeah.
A temporary bridge is in.
Yep.
I see no imminent safety hazards out there. Additional signage has been added to please stay off the hydro-receded area. But I see no reason not to have a soft opening and let people walk out there.
And so
It's safe enough, it's
so we're-
safer than
so
most of
we're-
our open space.
So where I'm getting at is
I agree.
does Mike, as the chair of the committee and others, the select board's next meeting, assuming town meeting finishes next week, is
Yeah.
May 6th. Do
Okay.
we want to report in basically saying, this is what we've done? We've worked with DPW, the property can have a opening, and oh, by the way, we need the board to do the preservation restriction, the baseline survey, and everything forward, so that we can get a better determination on these proposed uses, whether they're allowed, and if so, how they can
Okay,
take place.
that makes sense.
And
You
then
think we
we're
can
done.
do it by the 6th?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion.
Fire
I'm
away.
gonna put it to a vote.
Yeah.
Take the signs down. Take the horses down. Leave some signage up. Don't walk in the this or that, right?
Yeah.
Have a soft opening.
When do we want to do it?
Tomorrow.
6:05?
Let-
We're
let
ready
the-
for it.
Let the town get a feel for the property.
Yeah. The parking's there.
The parking's there.
Stones are already put in.
Let the town get a feel for the property. I think we're gonna be better off with that.
And then come back at a later time.
All
when
right.
We have more definition.
I mean.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to do it with a ribbon and you have a pair of scissors?
No, no. I
No,
think
you
we
do
often
that
have
when
soft
they put the
openings before
sign
you do
up.
the ribbon.
Even softer than the
All right.
ribbon, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Who do you want to make the sign?
I'll volunteer
What's the
Mark
sign
to
gonna
write the sign.
What's the sign gonna say?
Stay off the hydro-seeded area.
Well, those are going up.
Eventually, it's gonna say Koulas Farm
Right,
Conservation and Agricultural Reservation.
right. Oh, yeah, no, we're gonna get
Something with
we're
that
gonna
word.
get a granite
A
sign.
granite
Yeah,
sign,
real
and
nice
we
sign.
know where to get that, right?
And we're gonna
Paul?
get a granite sign. I know where not to get it too.
I know where not to get it, I know where to get it.
But we can do that. We'll order the sign. We'll take care of the sign.
Okay.
And
Put
what
Billy
what-
Vine's in charge of that.
What I'm
He's the
thinking,
only
what
one
I'm
that can do
thinking,
that.
John's saying is take the cones away.
Yep.
I can tell the select board, you're gonna come in at their next meeting on May 6th.
Yep.
And, and you're all, meaning all you come, or any, whatever, but Mike's the chair, and so he certainly
Okay.
has to be there. And then basically you can report in, basically saying is, this is what we come back with, and this is where it's going forward, and oh, by the way, it's safe now for the public officially, to be on the property. But in
Okay,
the-
that assumes.
It
that-
absolutely is.
That assumes that town meeting doesn't run 3 nights.
It's not going to run 3 nights.
All right, I sure as hell hope not.
So I
People,
made the motion, did somebody second it?
I'll second it.
You wanna take a vote on it? Soft opening?
Yeah.
You got it.
And you
got
can
it.
do that, you can do that 605, Phil.
Okay,
Technically, it's under my jurisdiction.
yeah, he owns it.
I'm fine with that, as long as the sense is that it's safe to be on there.
It's safer than, the
Yeah.
trails are
Safer
safer
than
than
it
lots
was.
of other
Yeah, so
trails.
basically, we just take out the orange cones and the no trespass signs.
So
Okay.
there's some things we ought to be doing, and we can talk about it, just as some other signages. We ought to put some signs up there about ticks.
The standard size.
Yeah, standard sign we do for everything.
Whatever
yeah.
we can get, because
You-
that'll keep, stay to the trails, because if not, you
You'll
will
get
get.
eaten by
you'll get
ticks.
eaten by ticks.
Those are just standard, just.
I came out of Hunt Road one day with 30 ticks on my jeans.
Yeah, all right, so I
Incredible.
think that's where we can leave it at this point.
And I think it's safe enough and.
Yeah,
Okay, so we are gonna do a soft opening. I will prepare something. You can give me a hand. The rest of you can give me a hand.
yeah, you're all welcome to come on the 6th, but.
And we'll show
but
up on the
it's,
6th and
Yeah, it's gonna be a little.
wave Koulas Farms
Well, you might
flags.
also be there because they're talking about River Neck Road that night for the conservation and
Oh, yes.
the friendly local initiative.
Yeah.
The stuff you guys talked about tonight,
River Neck Road?
yeah, the friendly 40B project. The commission, you're not at Tuesday night's meeting?
No.
Last Tuesday, 3 nights ago?
Yeah, I was there.
Right, my sense was the commission recommended against it because of the,
It was recommended twice.
yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we took the former recommendations
Right.
from the former commissioners
Right,
and brought it into,
right. But I'm saying that's gonna be presented to the select board at the
that should
same
be
meeting, so I'm just saying it may be a little while into the meeting before we get to Mike's and this report.
that's a
Okay.
whole different story.
Okay, but I'm just saying, because you might be there anyway.
So I will be there a week from next Monday.
Yeah,
I'll push things back and forth with
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
And maybe you can be the distribute
Yeah,
point
good
back
idea.
out to members so we don't violate open meeting.
So my question is, then you don't need anything from us, because,
I think we understand, yeah, I think
I
we get
think-
what you want.
Yes.
People out there.
so at this point, we're just
good.
waiting until
Yeah.
the next
It's gonna
step.
take some time,
Right.
yeah.
Right, okay, and at that
Dragons.
point, then we can present something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
because if it's not gonna go anywhere because of
Right.
the,
Because of all the other things that have to happen, yeah.
correct, then it's a mute issue at this point.
It could take a while. Any of these
Could be a
things.
year.
Correct.
And even on that, once you've got a CR, you have yearly inspections. If I put a kiosk up at Sunny Meadow, I have to notify.
Yeah, it could be a while, that's the thing, it could be a while before this advances.
Okay, very good, thank you, I just wanna make sure I get the
Well,
right
you weren't gonna get
information.
in for this season anyway.
Anyway, right,
No,
exactly.
I realize
To their
that.
CIs,
But,
any structure.
Do we think we'll have any chance to have anything presentable to Fall Town Meeting on any of this?
Fall or spring?
Well,
Well, I'm telling you, this Monday night, I've got 2 aerial photos from DPW.
Yeah.
And I'm basically gonna take all 30 seconds to basically acknowledge the work by DPW and this task force, and basically say that, that the chair will be reporting to the select
Yeah,
board.
okay, perfect.
On next Monday, and that the property will be open, and,
Maybe I'll wear a
and
suit.
then basically, we'll look for your continuing feedback on how that property is going, and what should be done in the future, but it's gonna take a while to
Yeah.
get the restriction done and determinations on what can be done out there.
I think residents will be very happy.
Yeah,
They're
I think they'll
chomping
be
at the bit.
stunned.
Yeah.
okay.
And really,
Looks
you
like
all
we're
should-
gonna have a new town park open.
Yeah,
real soon.
and I want to thank all of you because I think you all should be amazed and proud and pleased that part of what got us
Flabbergasted
to
is
a
the word
point
that
where
comes
we
to my
acquired
mind.
this
I thought
parcel,
this
what,
was gonna take
November?
all year.
I also want to comment that besides DPW, Phil.
I was
Phil,
gonna
that's
say
saying
Phil.
everybody, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
everybody, but I know people volunteered with Phil who were part of this and everything that,
Yeah.
We moved heaven and earth.
and we
to get
moved,
it done.
and also we even moved
An 18
precipitously to get
trailers.
the agricultural, even if you can only get mulch hay, it gets them started.
Yeah.
And same
Yeah.
thing for you over
Yeah.
on Hunt Road, it gets it started into a
I'll bring
productive
my
use,
first pumpkin to
as
a,
opposed to a lost season where nothing
Yeah.
was gonna happen.
sacrifice my first pumpkin to the select board.
All righty.
Well, it's gonna be me and the deer. If this hot pepper oil doesn't work, we'll have to go to Plan B.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to hot pepper even the flowers. 'Cause I'm actually more worried about them eating the flowers.
That's what they eat first.
Yeah, and that kind of does your crop in, doesn't it?
Without the flowers, you have no
Not
fruit.
much happens. You get lots of beautiful green. All right, well, maybe I'll.
Adjourn?
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Second, third.
Okay, so right now, we do not have another meeting planned.
Right, right.
And I we'll see how things go at the selectmen's meeting on the 6th, and at that point, we could probably declare victory and go out for beers.
2.5 acres is.